Hello all, this is James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and I'm here to talk about the season, the absolute finale of Game of Thrones, the very final episode. And it was foreshadowed to be an episode that we would not see coming. I don't know how many times I heard that this episode was going to be surprising. Um, and then I watched it. What exactly was surprising about this last episode? There was literally nothing that was surprising at all in the entire episode. In fact, it was pretty lack thereof of any type of surprises in any way. In fact, for you have episodes 1 through 5, which have some surprises, and the surprises are more along the lines of really stupid things to do to the characters and their character arcs. Well, not necessarily stupid things to do. So, the idea of Daenerys going full crazy makes sense within the story, but we never got her there yet. You see, the problem is that when episode 5 came along and she snapped on the dragon and became a psychopath killing millions of people, she just wasn't there yet. There wasn't enough triggers to have gotten her to that point. It was not realistic. Um, and that was pretty much season 8 in a nutshell. Season 8 was things being done without really having any build up to get him there. In fact, the pacing of season 8 was so horrible. I mean, episodes 1 through 5 felt so incredibly rushed. If you would have thrown in maybe 5 or 6 more episodes and built up Daenerys going Lulu, then when she went Lulu, it might not have been such a horrible scene. But she went Lulu for no reason. And that has been season 8 in a nutshell. It has been rushed until episode 6, which was slow. Somebody wake me up. Holy crap, was that the slowest, most boring episode of Game of Thrones I've ever seen. How many people are going to walk slowly through the course of the episode? That episode was just straight up boring. I'm sorry. It was incredibly boring. Now, I might sound like what do I sound like? A whiny fan that's not happy with how his favorite show ended? Well, yeah, I'm a whiny fan who's not happy with how his show ended. You see, for some reason, I felt that, I don't know, the people in charge of the show could actually bring the show to a close in somewhat of a logical manner. Any type of logical manner. From what I understand, HBO gave Dumb and Dumber unlimited resources to bring an end to Game of Thrones properly, and they most certainly didn't do it. They rushed through the first 5 episodes trying to cram all of this stuff in that was just crammed. I mean, what was the point of Valeris's note that he wrote with Jon being the true heir? I mean, who got the note, and what does it matter? You know, so many things about season 5 or season 8, sorry, just seem pointless. And the first 5 episodes were so rushed. They had this pacing, excuse me, they had this pacing like we were watching a movie. Um, Especially episodes 3 and 5. Episodes 3 and 5 were the most cinematic, most movie-like experiences, and honestly, both of those episodes, when I watched them, I felt a very strong, holy wow, the cinematic effects that I'm watching on screen are amazing. This is it feels like I'm in a movie theater right now. It's amazing what I'm seeing. But sadly, with all of that, I could only imagine the expensive budget that went into filming episodes 3 and 5. The story, the most basic portion of it was woefully lacking. So amazing cinematography. Um, you know, the 3 and 5 were, if anything, they were exciting. They you didn't fall asleep watching them, that's for sure. But the story didn't make much sense in them. In fact, the story really didn't make sense in them. 3 and 5 are the two episodes that I most point out in this uh, season that if there was to be any two episodes that need to be fixed, it's those two. I don't know how you would fix them. 4 is just kind of a transition one that didn't transition very well, and it really feels like to me there needed to be about 4 more episodes in the season, and then the final episode, the episode I just watched, I don't know, but there was no reason to make that an entire episode. I mean, that was just slow, 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 boring, 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 boring. I mean, wow, uh, boring. Have I said boring? Yes, that's the final episode of Game of Thrones in a nutshell. Is boring. Anyway, I think Kit Harington summed up this final season of Game of Thrones in a nutshell when he said disappointing. That's pretty much the most logical and easiest way to describe season 8 in a nutshell is disappointing. Um, there were a couple of high points, I suppose, that I could take away from this episode. Arya sailing off into the sunset as an explorer was, I suppose, a high point, though it doesn't really have any purpose other than I could possibly see a new show coming out of it, The Adventures of Arya and her exploration to the west, that could all become its own show. And maybe that was the purpose of it, to set up a new show with her. If so, that would be cool. And then the other high point, I think, would have been the penning in Sir Jaime Lannister's resume into the Book of Knights. I thought that had a nice sense of tribute done to it. I also suppose I liked the meeting of Sir Bronn the Blackwater as Master of Coin with our new Meister, and so basically the new positions at the court, um, and them arguing about a brothel and ships, that had a certain sense of don't know, a certain sense of realness to it and lightheartedness. Um, but for the most part, this episode is very dull. And that's really all I have to say about that. So anyway, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, I would suggest watching Game of Thrones. Just know that you're in for a hell of a ride, and that it's eventually going to end in disappointment because season 8 was a bag of crap. But yeah. Anyway, I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. This is my content. If you appreciate my content, please leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, all, peace.